Hello. Hi everyone. Welcome to Selenium Python training program. In the last session, we discussed about how to use a find elements a command, and we have seen an example on a find elements. Now, if you remember the example or the scenario what we have created, identify all the objects in the bing.com which are starting with the tag name as a. This scenario, I can also write it as identify all the links in the browser. The reason why I can recreate this scenario like that one means usually all the links in the web page will start with a tag name as a itself. Okay, every link usually will start with a tag name as a itself. So I just decoded that particular line and I have a given in this way so that we can easily understand that. So this scenario and this scenario both are one and the same, as the links in a web page are starts with a tag name as a. So I can call it out majority of the links. Okay, majority of the links usually will start with a tag name as a. To cross check that, I'm opening a bing.com. Right click on this language, inspect. See, it is starting with the tag name as a. All the links are starting here with the tag name as a, and even images, it's starting with the tag name as a. So every link in a web page is starting with the tag name as a itself. So we can also call this scenario as identify all the links in the browser. Good enough. And then the next point which I need to consider out over here is driver.findElements is a method which will get all the object information from the entire browser, right? So the scenario which I want to create right now is get all the options in the drop down. And for that, the first scenario is going to be the bing.com, and the second scenario is Salesforce account creation page role drop down values. Okay, so these are the two scenarios. So on a bing.com, I need to get uh, auto. In the last class we have a studied, right? 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, some values are there, right? So I just want to get those values using a WebDriver program. And on a Salesforce account creation page, we have another drop down. So first of all, let us see this one. So my requirement is to get all objects in the drop down. Okay, good enough. So let me navigate to that drop down and see what those objects are having and which tag name or common property all the objects have. So now right click on this object, inspect. So whenever I have a performed this particular operation, see there is a select a class, and if you expand that, all the options in the drop down are starting with a common tag name as a. Okay, all the options are starting with a common tag name as a, sorry, option here. See, if I highlight this one, how many drop down values are there? Every drop down option is starting with a tag name as an option itself. So directly I can use a find elements command. So I noticed that all options in the drop down are starting with the tag name as an option only. So I can use my WebDriver commands to get all options. So here driver dot find elements by dot tag name of option. I would like to get them with all the options. That's it, nothing more than that. So let's switch back to our editor and let us create a new program for this. So right click, excuse me guys. So right click, paste that program, and I am naming that program as a demo 11. And I just want to close all other programs. And here, let us delete all these comments for our understanding purpose. So I just want to delete this line too. Okay, I'm not changing anything else in this script. I'm not changing anything else in this script. Okay. So the next point, what I'm doing right now here is the URL got changed. So copy the URL, update the URL in your test scripts, update the URL in your test scripts. And all the objects are starting with the tag name as an option. Hence, I'm changing my tag name to option. That's it. So driver dot find elements by tag name as an option. Now, when I run my test script this time in this situation, the drop down is having all the options like a -1, 10, 15, 30, 50. All these values are there. And see, all the options got a captured and it got a printed to the console. Auto 10, 15, 30, all the values got a printed as we are using a text method which will be getting the text on that particular objects. Good enough. Done the deal. But if you observe this, okay, it captured all the values and printed. With this, we successfully created one scenario. This scenario is successfully completed, and my required values got printed to the console. Now, the next scenario is Salesforce account creation page role dropdown. So here, developer.salesforce.com, and I'm clicking on a sign up. So whenever you clicked on a sign up, it's navigating to the account creation page. And in this page, we have a two drop downs. One is a role and another is a country. Okay. Right click on a role, right click on a role, inspect. All the options in a role drop down are starting with the tag name as an option. And the similar way, right click on a country drop down and inspect. And if you observe, even all these options are also starting with tag name as an option. Okay, that's fine. Let's keep this aside. But my requirement is I'm using a find elements command. So copy this program, create a new program on top of it. So here 12, I created a new program and change the application URL to this Salesforce URL. I'm updating my application URL within my program, and then driver.find elements and print. My requirement is to capture the values in the role dropdown. Okay, I have a specified just driver.find elements, and let me run my script and see what it is printing to the console this time. Okay, let it execute and see what it is printing. No? See, it printed my role values and there are 235 values are there. But my role drop down is having just 5 to 6 values. But the counter here it retrieved as a 235. The reason is we use driver dot find elements, right? Driver dot find elements means it will try to identify in the entire web page. But as per our scenario, we need to get the data from the role drop down. So instead of using driver.find elements, I can use role drop down dot find elements. Okay, let me do that particular one now. So here, instead of using this driver data find elements, let me comment this line. And here, what is the object information of this role? Right click, inspect. See here, this object is having an ID property. Copy this ID property, go back here. Driver data find element by ID, and I'm storing it in a obj is equal to. Okay, obj contains this drop down object information, and now obj dot find elements I want to use here. Obj dot, I'm using a find elements by dot a tag name, again I'm using it as an option, and this result I'm storing it in a p1. And now the further commands I'm not changing anything. print the length of the P1 and print all the values in the P1. So let me run my test script and see the difference. Earlier, whenever we used a driver dot a find elements, it captured a 235 values, and now I'm using obj dot a find elements. See, this time it captured my required values, and all the values in a role drop down got printed to the console. So the bottom line out over here is, if at all you want to capture properties on a specific object, identify the object first and then use a find elements command on that object. Okay, use a find elements command on that particular object which is capturing the values. So this is the way how to capture these many values, guys. That's all I have. See you again in the next session. Thank you.